Hey, welcome back to Piece of Chaos. If the podcast sounds a little weird this week, I'm messing around with my audio settings. So bear with me. I got some new equipment, and I don't really know how to use it, to be honest with you. Man, it's been a hell of a month. It's January 2025, the last day of. I had high hopes at the beginning of the year that I would be able to keep up with this and do it once a week, but life really kind of stepped in and got in the way. For those of you that are joining from all over the world, which is still bananas to me. I do live north of Los Angeles, California. And most of the time, the weather here is fantastic and moderate and sunny. We don't get much rain. We don't get much variation in temperature. But the new normal seems to be that our only weather is actually existential and catastrophic, and that is wind that is made of fire. And it just, it's very frightening, and it just rips through entire towns, as we saw in the Pacific Palisades and the Eaton Fire, which took out Altadena, parts of Malibu. I haven't been down there yet, so I haven't seen it yet with my own eyes. I don't know that I'm really anxious to do that. It's going to be hard to see. I think it's going to be hard to see. But I thought I would take this opportunity because while it was going on, and it was the actual January 7th fire was, obviously the worst of it. If you want to choose a day. But it's really been, most of the month has been dealing with it in some way, shape, or form. So I get a lot of questions from friends and family and stuff, people that aren't here, and obviously a lot of concern and good wishes and all that. And it's really nice to have, and I really appreciate it. But I thought I would give people a bit of a more detailed description of, just what it's like going through it. And I mean, we were very lucky. We really I didn't get evacuated. So it wasn't that close for us. And it wasn't that dire for us, this one, which is great. But for a lot of people it was. And it's still very stressful. There's a lot of anxiety. The new wrinkle this year is that the power company just turns off the power. They give you a couple hours warning that they're going to do it when it's going to be windy. And then they just turn off the power and they tell you that we'll turn it back on after the wind stops. Well, that usually is, a day or two, at least a day. In our case, it was a couple of bouts of 4 or 5 days at a time. I think the longest was 4 days without power. This happened in early December. There was another fire that ripped through close to us, not too far away. Some of the people that lost homes go to school with my kids, so it's close enough that, they're in our school district. And when they cut off the power for that one, basically the idea is when the winds get too strong, the power lines clack together or stretch and cause sparks at the power state or at the power line junctions, essentially, that are kind of wired through the mountains to bring power, and they spark and they ignite because it hasn't rained for 4 or 5 months, and a little fire starts and it quickly spreads. The wind picks up that fire and embers from that fire, and it just goes crazy. It looks like that seems to be what happened in the Eaton fire, actually. So rather than risk that, they just turn off the power, because then if the lines move around, they can't spark, they can't start a fire, so they just turn it off. And then when the wind stops, they inspect all the lines, make sure everything's okay, and then they turn it back on. Just a crazy way to handle the problem, it seems like to me. And they pay out billions of dollars in lawsuits when these things happen. I don't know if it's billions, it's definitely hundreds of millions, I believe. And I just don't understand why that's the solution, is to turn off the power instead of spending every waking minute knowing you're the cause of this issue. Your equipment is the cause of this issue, and it's a solvable problem. You have to bury the lines underground because it's windy, and that's not going to change. It's dry, and that's not going to change. It's just a crazy solution. Like, I can't imagine if somebody was, needed a breathing machine or, something like that, and they just find out, hey, in 4 hours we're turning off the power. Like, okay, what if you're on life support or something? It's madness, just absolute madness. So my solution for my family is I got a generator, gas-powered generator. I've never owned one of those before. I do like to camp, but I never had a generator. So, in December when that fire happened and they cut off our power, I got a generator, and I learned about generators. There was a bit of a run on the generators, so I didn't have a lot to choose from at the Lowe's. I basically had the one I got, which is just like a handheld kind of 1 gallon generator, 1 gallon of gas generator. It runs 10 hours on a tank of gas. It's pretty great. Has 2 outlets on it, so basically I just plug in outlets, or I plug in extension cords, bring them into the house, plug in the fridge, plug in a power strip so we can charge our devices and so forth. And it took us 2 days to realize we could just plug a lamp in, so we didn't have to use flashlights and candles and stuff. But now we have a pretty good power outage kit, which is something I didn't think I would have. But when the power's out and you're using a generator, the whole neighborhood, there's generators all over the place. The whole neighborhood's kind of got this hum of generators. But funny story, my neighbor also got a generator this time. And like I said, once this started happening, generators just sold out immediately. You couldn't get one in the local area. But my neighbor, I don't know where he went to get it, but he went somewhere to get it. And the only one left was the world's largest portable generator. And he rolled up to the house and set it up in the front, in his driveway. And I was like, oh my God, man, we can run the whole neighborhood on that thing, knowing what I know now about, what you can do with a generator. It was just a riot. So his giant generators running out there, mine's running, my other neighbors are running, and it's just, it's amazing how people live. So it was like camping in our house, basically. So extremely inconvenient, but could have been worse, right? So at least now we have a plan. We have our go bag. I wanted to explain what it's like to go through. So there's this app called Watch Duty that's come around. That's a nonprofit that basically tracks a real-time fire situation with grids of who's being evacuated. You can see how many tankers are working on the fire at any given time, and the direction the fire's moving, and the speed at which the fire's moving, and it's a fire tracker basically. And so you have this app where you're watching the fire spread and seeing how close it's getting to you, or not, or seeing that the wind is pushing the other way and thinking, okay, we're all right, or we've got about an hour here where it's getting kind of crazy. We should get our go bag ready. So the go bag is like, important documents that you can't replace easily, passports, birth certificates, that kind of stuff. I have 25 years worth of hard drives that have, old photos and stuff digitized on them. So I got a big box of hard drives that goes just for history, the important papers in a firebox, and we grab some photos off the wall, some keepsakes that are laying around, and we get ready to go. Which is a crazy thing to look. And we have been evacuated before. We just haven't been on this one. And one of the times that my family got evacuated, I wasn't even here. I was in Texas for work. At the time, there wasn't watch duty. There was Twitter, and seeing real-time updates on the spread of the fire getting closer and closer, and realizing that, my wife had to pack up the family and the dog and, the things they wanted to keep and the kids and drive away, not knowing whether you get to come back. And if you do get to come back, what it'll look like. So it's really something to have that kind of thought. In one regard, there's this it's only stuff, don't worry about it. But also, it's a life, man. It's everything you've accumulated, not just for the sake of accumulating things, but things mark your life. Things mark events, kids' drawings and artwork and stuff that you're not going to have room for that in the car when you're evacuating, but you're not going to get the chance to open a box in, a couple of years and go through it and think about, the childhood memories, the little, clothes that you saved from your kids and stuff like that. I wouldn't say we're super pack rats, but we have a big tote full of those kind of sentimental items for each kid. And, obviously have them for ourselves, yearbooks and pictures and all that kind of stuff that just disappears in that kind of situation. And, I obviously have musical equipment that's irreplaceable, rare things that I can't get again. And I've had to come to terms with letting them go, realizing that, again, it's just stuff. But it sucks. And I've been thinking and talking to friends and stuff about where can you live that you can tolerate, where there is no existential natural disaster threat. And, I kind of landed on the Northeast of the United States really just has shitty weather, but none of it is life-threatening, really. If you have, it gets cold for stretches. It gets really hot for stretches. It rains a lot. It snows. But if you're sitting in your house and you have, at bare minimum, a fireplace and some wood or something like that, as long as you have, food and shelter, it's just annoying The problem is that when it's not that, the weather isn't that great ever. So, the cost of living here in California is extremely high. The weather is extremely amazing, and it's also extremely volatile and dangerous. And this is just, what it is. But anyway, so it's anxiety inducing to sit near a fire, knowing that it's there, knowing that at any minute it could just catch the wrong wind, catch the wrong canyon, and just rip right through and come to your doorstep. So it really sucks. And then also the air, I'm sure, is extremely unhealthy, whether we can see it or not. Sometimes you can smell it, not see it. Obviously, that's bad. In this fire, we did have a few instances for a day or two where we were getting smoke and ash from a fire that's like 50, 60 miles away. It was just the way the wind was blowing it. It blew the smoke and ash our way. So, yeah, it's kind of dangerous, I guess. Not great. The lung damage, the long-term lung damage, I'm sure is not going to be great. I'm sure we'll see a spike in, COPD and those kind of things. Generally in the state, it's got to be higher than most. But, you got to live somewhere. And most of the time, this place is great. So, but I thought I would try to give you a heads up on and an idea of what it's like. It sucks. It sucks to live through that and to watch it and to know that people are losing their homes, and the smoke that you see is a town that was here at 9 a.m. and is no longer here at 3 p.m. So it's going to be a new world here in California, I think. I hope that we learn things from this. I hope we, work on and capitalize on, building codes and building materials that can live in the reality of where we actually live. Maybe we can't make houses out of wood anymore. Maybe we got to figure that out. Maybe we have to figure out how to better serve insurance to volatile areas like this, because just not having it and making it a total loss doesn't seem a good way to do it either. But I don't have the answers. I did call my insurance company like mid-fire just to check that I have fire insurance. Your mind does crazy things when you're facing something like this. It felt a little bit like COVID there for a couple days because we were without power. The fire was moving fast. They weren't able to contain it. The wind was continuing. So it was crazy. And the nights were so quiet without power. You don't realize how much kind of just ambient noise there is. But my favorite purchase that is in my the Powers Out kit was a battery powered, like I'm a Craftsman tool person. I know some people are Makita or DeWalt, the serious carpenter, not home people, but like professional contractors choose a side. You got to be DeWalt guy. You got to be a Milwaukee guy. You got to be that. Well, I'm a Craftsman guy. My dad was a Craftsman guy. I can't justify the cost of those higher end tools because I don't do a ton of work. I can do a little bit of everything. So I like Craftsman stuff and I like stuff to match. And one of the reasons people like pick one of those things is because the batteries match the whole series. So Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I'm a Craftsman guy. So I got Craftsman battery powered, the same batteries you would use on a drill or a saw or something for a wireless tool, hooks onto the bottom of this little portable fan. And I saw one this summer. My cousin had one at the beach. I was like, that's brilliant, but I didn't pull the trigger and get it. But because I like to sleep with a fan, and with the power out, you don't get a fan, I got this portable fan that runs on one of my tool batteries. That's my favorite part of the entire thing. That and figuring out how to plug in the lamp were kind of the highlights of the fire season, which I hope is over. We'll see. I grew up never being afraid of the wind, but now I don't like the wind because the wind could be on fire. And I don't like that. But we survived. We made it through unscathed, other than, again, the damage from the generalized anxiety of living through a fire without power. But thank you, everybody who reached out asking how we were doing throughout this whole process. And like I said, it was a long one. So my aspirations of doing podcasts every week, I didn't even have power most of January, actually. So I don't even think I could have done a podcast. I really couldn't have done it anyway. So, either way, I'm back and I am excited to be here with you. Bear with me as I learn my new rack mounted, compressor and dialing in the sound on the microphone. I do have a couple of cool guests coming up eventually here. Haven't got them on the books scheduled yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I also have a theme that I want to explore with the podcast. The fire got me thinking about, the drum sets that I have, and the thought of losing them was unsettling. And so I thought what I would do is just for record keeping, I'd spend a little time on a podcast, like a podcast dedicated to each drum set, because they are all unique and special in a lot of ways. And I don't know, maybe nobody cares, but I care, and I like to talk about drums and think about drums, and maybe someday somebody will give a shit. Maybe someday somebody will want to listen to it. And maybe it'll spark a conversation about the differences between drum sets and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. That might be a fun idea. So keep an ear out for that. I have some pretty unique drum sets that I want to talk about, just for posterity, right? So, thank you so much for listening to Piece of Chaos. I will be back next week, and new adventures. Doing a little traveling here in the next couple weeks. That should help me with my reading, which now I am 3 books behind on my attempt to do 52 books in 52 weeks. But it's okay. I can make up time. I can get a lot done on my flights. And so thank you again for listening to Piece of Chaos. Thank you for, again, the care and reaching out during the fires. And if you can donate to Fire Aid LA, that's probably a good idea. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the Fire Aid concert, it was pretty amazing. They pulled it together so quickly and had simultaneous concerts going on at the Kia Forum and the Staples, not the Staples, I forget, Intuit Dome, which are kind of close to each other downtown, and just anybody played Stevie Wonder, Billie Eilish, Olivia Rodrigo, Earth, Wind and Fire, Black Crowes, Nirvana reunited with 4 different singers. John Mayer was incredible. Some incredible cover songs were played. Somebody did, I can't remember who exactly played it, but somebody played a cover of Over the Hills and Far Away. I think Pink did a Zeppelin song. Like, it was like a 7-hour love fest for Los Angeles. And Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, former Microsoft CEO, is going to match the donations dollar for dollar. So highly recommend not only checking out the concert, but also donating if you can. Hopefully it will go quickly to the right place and help people who are in need. Not everybody in the Palisades was a celebrity that isn't going to worry about their home. This was just a regular town, man. Same with Altadena, and hundreds and thousands of people are forever changed. So, all right, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening to Piece of Chaos.